All right, what is up, everybody? So, ShotScout0013 here, coming in with another interview, this time with Nick Knackety. We wanted to talk about Rebels and kind of just give you the good, maybe not necessarily the bad, but some of the bad and the fun, and let you guys know that there is still some decent Rebel stuff out there, and just kind of discussed a little bit about Rebels and a little bit of how to play with them. So definitely check that out. You're welcome to fast forward through that. I'm going to try to put the timestamp down below in the description as well. And I wanted to kind of go over the giveaways that are still going on. If you just noticed, I have finally reached 1,000 subscribers, so I'm going to try to think of a very fun giveaway for that, and I'll come out with a video again just shortly, thanking you guys and telling you what the giveaway would be for that, and just subscribing or not, yeah, being a subscriber and leaving a comment on that video will get you in to win. But I just wanted to shout out to the Discord that if you are on Discord, feel free to head on over there. You're going to be able to have lots of options to choose from between like chatting in with like Empire lists, the Rebel lists, CIS, Gar, Republic. If you've got general chat stuff, kind of talking about what is going on in the Legion world. And then if you paint and do a bunch of other stuff like that, you're more than welcome to kind of like post anything up on here. You know, if you wanted to paint, I don't know why I did that, but if you wanted to paint in the Tiki Bar or the Tiki Hut, the hobby hut basically, you're welcome to do that and just kind of like start a stream and let everyone kind of like come on in. But yeah, that is the Discord. The more that you talk, the more that you are entered in to win. What I do is I go to the server level and I look at all of this and see who is on there at the start of the giveaway. So yeah, that is one way. Another way is to become a Patreon member and subscribe. All you have to do is be a member and you get entered in to win. The guys who are paying members, which really helps the channel, do get extra chances to win in these different giveaways. And there's a Baron of Dice giveaway for the Patreon, and then I think for the Discord it is the cards, and then for YouTube I think it is the essentials kit. And so if you're a YouTuber if you are a YouTube subscriber and you leave a comment, that'll get you entered into that. And I think that was right. If not, I'm gonna correct it down in the comments down below, or the description. But yeah, and those are your 3 ways to enter. Lastly, if you want to head on over to theburnacademy.com, you can subscribe for $15 a month, and you'll be able to get 3, 4, 5, and 6 day week workout programs, corrective exercise programs, 30-minute stuff, at home stuff, cardio circuits, any future programs that come out. You're going to get tons of different recipes, ways to track your progress, and there's videos and descriptions of all your workouts and exercises. These are some of the people who I have trained and have found results in just the short amount of time that we have did train ourselves. So yeah, feel free to head on over there and let me know what you think. Other than that, I'll go ahead and get us straight to the video. All right, thanks a lot, guys. All right, what is up, everybody? So ShotScout0013 here with Nick Knackety, right over here.
Hi everyone. I'm Nick Knackety. I've been playing Legion for about a year now, almost there. It started in November, and I've been playing in tournaments since January. So I've been playing for about 8 months. Every tournament I've been to, I've been playing Rebels. I really like playing Rebels. They're really fun. They're the heroes, heroes of the rebellion, and so I've always enjoyed playing them. And got my favorite characters, like Luke and Han and Sabine and all those really great characters, Cassian, K2SO. So really enjoy running them. Top finish is 3rd, and then recently finished 15th at Crucible. So yeah, I've been getting better, and I've been really enjoying the journey with Rebels. So
yeah, it's nice to actually have, as we were talking, someone who actually plays Rebels and has
yeah,
a good understanding about them. And that's what I kind of wanted to talk today about, because I hear a lot of people talking bad about Rebels, which, yes, there's always something bad to talk about with a faction. I feel like they're getting a lot of negativity, though, because might not feel like it's that great, but I mean they actually were performing not that bad even at Crucible, and so I just kind of wanted to get your input on Rebels and the good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
first, let's kind of talk about your favorite units in Rebels and kind of like what you like about Rebels.
Okay. So I was playing Ahsoka for a really long time. I played a lot of like Cassian Ahsoka. I started with what I called Sassian, which was Cassian and Sabine, along with like K2, and so I ran a lot of that, which I thought was a lot of fun, and it was kind of unique in that it wasn't like something that a lot of people were running. Cassian and Ahsoka, a lot of people were running, so people are more familiar with that list. And I even did like Cassian and Ahsoka Pikes at one point, and so I mean, I ran just kind of that list that was going around there back in like old Legion. And what I like about Rebels is they have a lot of like fun card effects, and your cards do a lot of things. And your units might not be the best, but you get to play a lot of heroes, and you get to play a lot of like familiar characters that um, have a lot of unique abilities and stuff. Like I always enjoyed, Cassian because he had his buddy K2, and they do like the teamwork, and they share the tokens, and you do the sniping, and then K2 can go off and help you by like suppressing a unit or something if you need him to. And then of course Ahsoka, just really fun unit to play. She's a missile that you can throw at stuff, and um, so she really does hit hard. Um, right now I've been playing mainly like Op Luke because he's so good right now. Even better than like a lot of units. He's expensive, but I think he's worth it because he has disengage, and if you put force push on him, he is the best force user to play. He's just absolutely so fun. Like I don't think there's a more fun force user in the game personally than Opluke, because the things that you can do with him you just cannot do with any other force user. You can force push, jump into a unit, like lightsaber it, nerf it, jump into something else that's weaker, and then you can't do that with a different force user because you could only be able to like jump in, force push, and then move somewhere else. You wouldn't be able to affect like four different units. And he can do that consistently. And then I play Jedi Mind Trick on him, so he can even like do a little more on one turn, especially like you serve your master well. Obviously, that doesn't feel as good in the droids because you can't actually like make them shoot each other, but it's still fun. Um, and it's still you can like use it on your own guys to make them do something, um, which is fun. And so he's really fun. I've been playing a little bit of Bad Batch. I do have some interesting thoughts about that. I don't know if we can talk about that later.
Yeah,
They do feel good. I've never had them die on me, so that is something. Hunter has always survived with at least one wound. So I mean that's something to say for rebels because typically our units don't live. But I do like Din. He's fun to play. Obviously, I played a lot of Sabine. I think she's really fun. I don't think she's as good as people are saying right now, just because I think there's a lot of like traps in her. Because like you got explosions. If you run that in, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's terrible. And like I've had it do a bunch of wounds, and I've had it do like one. So it's like you never know what's gonna happen with that. And sometimes you don't even get the suppression bomb you're hoping for. And so, and then you usually lose her after you've done that because she's exposed, even if you don't really want her to be. Since it's a one pip, it's kind of hard to get her in order in Rebels.
right,
Because you kind of have to count on your stack is going to be really cluttered if you're playing Rebels. So you kind of have to realize that you're not necessarily going to have perfect order control like some other factions, like
mm,
droids, for example. Um, but I do enjoy her. She's very fun to play. I haven't played Han yet, really a whole lot. I am getting one, so I was trying to wait for the resculpt because I really
yeah,
like the resculpt, but I was like, oh, I just got to get him now because he's so good, and he is performing really well because he's dropping, two models every time practically with the cover change. So I definitely have to play him. And obviously he's one of my favorite characters. Who doesn't love Han Solo, right?
right, yeah,
Um, what are my favorite units? I like running Mandalorians a lot. They're fun. I think they need some help, and we can talk about that later, obviously. What else do I really enjoy? I do like running buses. I think they're fun. I think on some tables in America, it's good to have a bus because you can like block some of those big shooting lanes and stuff like that with them. Because rebels do not like to be shot; they like to hide. And so if you have something you can bring that can help them hide, that's really good. Actually had in my last tournament, I played a guy with Yoda Bad Batch Chewie, and he had his Bad Batch and my Bad Batch were kind of around a point of interest. and I parked my bus in between my bad batch and his bad batch. And so in order to score, he had to stay kind of close, right? And so he moved his bad batch, shot the bus because he had to like double move or something, and he ended up not scoring recon mission because he couldn't see through my bus, and then he ended up like killing the bus, but that was fine because my bad batch was waiting there to just run in and engage them because bad batch isn't that great in melee. So it was kind of funny. We had a hunter on hunter, tech on tech, like wrecker on wrecker violence going on in there for the rest of the game. So
Oof.
that was enjoyable to see. But it locked down his Yoda guidancing them all the every turn to do like, steady and everything. So that's why I did it. Um, I think Din is really good. I think Flamers are really good. Rebels do have quite a few Flamers right now. We have Boba. You can actually do double Flamer on him, which is pretty cool. Because you can do it twice, which is great. Din has a Flamer and Pierce if you take his Beskar Spear. That's a lot better than people give it credit for with like red saves, because you can guarantee that you're probably going to get a little above average, like half dice, depending on if it's surging red saves or not. But I mean, that's really good. I think I saw your episode with Graham where he'd mentioned our game, and he would have saved more if it hadn't have been for the Pierce value, which did help Din a little bit. But I mean, those 5 squads go crazy. But
Yeah, those are big.
yeah, those are big, really, really tough. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fun units in Rebels. I did like the full commandos. I ran quite a lot of them before the points update. Um, I'm not sure if they're worth it or not right now. I'm a little skeptical, but they are a fun unit when they are going and they're doing things, because that Pierce is great. Like if you can shoot a Wookiee and you can get a lot of your stuff, you can pierce any saves you might get. You can do the same to clones. It's actually really fun. And then of course you get that range too as well. Um, what else do I like running? Let me just think real quick. I think that's mostly my favorite units. Like I like a lot of Mandos and a lot of heroes. Um, I used to run Commander Luke when I first started because what I had out of the starter box, but I love Op Luke so much more. If Commander Luke is like, I'm not gonna call him a Fiat, I'm gonna call him like a Mini Cooper, then like Op Luke is a Cadillac. He's just great. So he's definitely my favorite unit right now, and I think he's probably Rebel's best unit overall.
Yeah, so there's a few things I was actually going to attach to that. So I hear and see a lot of people say that they don't want, or sorry, don't need force push on Operative Luke because he has disengage.
Mm,
But I think that that's
yep,
wrong. I think still force push on him is necessary because yeah, you could also be engaged with 2 units and you
right,
still need that force push and then you can disengage, or with charge. I mean that might be the only thing he has, so you might want to force push and
right,
then charge into something. Like
yeah,
just because he has disengage doesn't mean force push is a no go.
yeah,
And so I'm sure that you found that to be kind of like helpful force push, I should say.
yeah. I think my favorite play I've ever had with Uploop came on Saturday. At the Brevard Gaming Lounge tournament that we had this Saturday. I was assistant judge. But Yoda and Chewie, they did their little 2-pip, where they do the size matters sometimes thing, and they moved in, and then Yoda guidances Chewie onto the point. And I'm, looking at the card and I'm like, okay, it says, they perform moves. Like Yoda has to be in base contact with Chewie. I'm like, perfect. And so I just waited with my op Luke. He runs in, throws Chewie and Yoda off the point. We tie the center, unclose the pocket. I score 1, he scores nothing, because on the other side we have Bad Batch and Bad Batch tying it up in like Commandos and Mandos with Best God Duelist. And I ended up winning the game because I scored 1 point and then I got my recon mission. He didn't get his because the bus had stopped him. And then it's just hilarious because Luke just ruined the 2-pip. And then the next turn I played Son of Skywalker, pulled Chewie in a little bit, moved Luke into Chewie with even at speed 1. He was still close enough, right? Moved him in, killed Chewie, jumped into his shotgun squad. I think I threw Yoda back further too, because I don't think he had the burst of speed turn or something. I don't remember exactly
Okay.
what happened. Oh no, he did have to pop burst of speed, I think is what happened. And so yeah, so it was hilarious because it just messed up everything. And the very next turn I was like, okay, his 2-pip is coming, because he had gone through the Yoda cycle. And I was like, okay, now it's I'm a Jedi. Yoda's
I
done,
hate
and so
that
is the
card.
shotgun squad that's in me, like on my op Luke, and it was just kind of a game-winning moment because then Luke's like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here in my little protective bubble that you can't, get through. You can't hit me, and I'm just gonna wait for you to activate a unit, and I'm gonna throw it off the point, and that's exactly what happened, and ended up winning me the game. So I mean, Op Luke, he wins games. He does it by himself, pretty much. So he's good. Definitely need the
Yeah.
force push in my opinion. Like Jedi Mind Trick is good, and that you serve your master well is good, but I think I found people play around it because they know like, oh no, my units can shoot each other, and so they kind of like keep them from charge range or something with their arcs because they know like, okay, move aim is really bad, so they don't let you do like some of the coolest stuff that you could possibly do. So I think that having that kind of force push is kind of like a conditional like really good thing because you can always have it because with Master of the Force. And then if you have you serve your master well, you can actually force push and you serve your master well like an arc squad and potentially catch them off guard, charge something. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. And then I know another thing is Sabine. You said that you don't think that she's as effective. Is that just because of the one pip, or is that just because like of other things? And then we'll talk about Mandos in a second if you want.
Mm. I think it's because of my experience playing her. Um, I just feel like she needs a few more things. Like I think she needs a training slot, an extra training slot for maybe like seize the initiative. On top of like probably up close and personal, which is what people usually put on her and what I always put because it's really good. I mean, that gives her two dodges, so you take that. Especially now that cover's different, you're not worried about only dodging crits anymore. So yeah, up close and personal, and I think C's because I do think that she needs that ability to get out on anything other than her two pip or one pip, sorry, because her two pip is not really you don't really take it because it's kind of like, I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And then like a lot of times you lose priority, so you don't get her out after her bombs. So I think like if you could give her an order if it sees the initiative or something, I think that'd be really good. I would like to see her have charge because I feel like she sometimes you put the dark saber on her for dauntless obviously, but like sometimes you don't get to actually swing, you just end up moving into them. And I had one game where I engaged Sabine with a squad of Geonosians. And we sat there and I could not kill the Geonosian squad all game because the first time it was just a double move to tie them up, right? From death from aboveing to the rest of my rebels. And I sat there and I was swinging and I was swinging and I was swinging like 3 rounds and they never died. And so I thought, wow, that's not great because like at least I could have got a charge off and changed it down to like maybe 3 rounds instead of having her engaged for 4. And that was
Jeez.
like old rules as well, so you couldn't like withdraw and then move again. And quite honestly, there was nowhere to even withdraw up there because it was a building that we were on, or like a rock. Yeah, it was like a rock mountain, so we couldn't like get off of it, like because our Geos and Sabine were holding up everything. So yeah, I think I would like to see her have charge as well, or like relentless. I know that's crazy for a speed 3 unit, but like something like a one pip or something, like Din. I think that'd be kind of cool to see that reworked. I would probably we talked about this with two guys at Crucible actually, like James Sheeran, I think, and Travis. We talked about it and we were like, it'd be nice if they'd move explosions to a 2 pip and like give her a 1 pip that gives her like charge or relentless or something. Or yeah, I think that
Or
would be
put it
pretty
on the
cool
dark
to see.
saber.
Or yeah, just put it on the dark saber. That's the other option. Which would be cool because that would give her a lot of versatility. Instead of like kind of like having to conserve her actions. Speed 3 isn't as far anymore as it used to be either, I don't think, because like everything's so spread out now. It takes like double moving a lot of time to get where you want them to go. So you kind of do need like that extra little ability to do something if you don't have scout or something. So
Yeah, because the
I think
majority of the
that's
time,
why.
okay. Because I think majority of the time you're using for the gear slot, at least for the Shadow Collective Mandos, for their shields, and they don't get
Hmm.
recon. And then for
Right.
the Rebel Mandos, I mean, you might be taking like recon or prepared supplies or something like that. I feel like, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you, I feel like they do need some help, and I think that Mandos need a personnel upgrade to bring
Hmm.
either 3 more to the unit,
Ooh, that'd be cool.
or make it a base of 4, and then you can add a heavy to make it 5.
Yeah, yeah, that would
Because
help.
they need more minis because they just crumble
They do.
really fast for how expensive they are. Like they've got
Yeah,
the
they're very
tools,
expensive.
but they don't have the bodies, and I feel like that's what
Yeah.
they're really struggling with right now.
Yeah, I think the other option for me, because like I've had them blank out and you just lose all of them right away, and it feels really bad, especially when it's like a commando squad, a clone commando squad, and you're like, okay, these pseudo Mandalorians just killed my Mandalorians in one shot, but I couldn't actually shoot them. Like I couldn't shoot them and kill them in one shot. So I think it feels kind of weird to have like Katarn armor and not like Beskar armor. So I would love to have like a Beskar armor upgrade on them, and even like on like Sabine and like Din, I think that'd be really cool. Like for the first time, it actually like blocks everything but one hit. If Katarn armor is a thing, I think we need to have Beskar armor as something that you pay for. I don't think it should be like super expensive because you're already paying for it in the cost of the Mandalorians, in my mind. Like at least the
Right.
Rebel Mandalorians. Like I think Din is costed very well, but like I think specifically like Rebel Mandos and Shadow Collective Mandos are costed pretty high for what they do right now,
Right.
especially Rebel
Um,
Mandos because they don't have like independence or like a order thing or anything. They have nimble, but they have like no way to get dodges. Really, other than like exemplar. But you really, how often are you sending your speed 3 unit to the main point where your rebel officer is or something? Like, I don't know.
that,
I'm
or
personally
even
sending them elsewhere. Yeah,
that, or they're just too far away for exemplar at that point
yeah,
because the
yeah,
speed 3
exactly.
is
Right.
is just so far.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, okay, so that's a lot of the good points and stuff, and
Mhm.
of like your favorite units. Now, what does that also kind of slightly entail some of the negative stuff that you think about Rebels, or do you? We can get into that in a second.
Ooh.
Because I was going to ask you kind of what maybe you think the strengths and the weaknesses of the Rebel faction itself is
Hmm.
that you've
I
come to
think a
find.
lot of people are still trying to figure that out. I mean, we used to win turn 6, and now we have to win, I think, by turn 3 if we're gonna win. I'll give an example like Old Legion and New Legion. So like Old Legion, I played a game of hostage exchange with the Florida Man Legion event. Really good guy, really good friend of mine, and he had his hostage in his deployment zone, and I had mine almost there. Right, a couple rebels had died getting them there, but they were almost there, and I burst his feet Ahsoka in and just tried to finish off his unit, and I did. Managed to just run in there and got lucky, won the game. That's turn 6. Like now, if you wait till turn 6, a lot of your rebels are dead, I think. So you kind of have to. All the games I've won, it's been kind of a story where by turn 3, I'm like, oh, I'm ahead and I'm gonna win this game. I just have to have one mini left on the board, and that actually got pretty close one time at Crucible. I had 6 wounds left on the table. I had uh Ursa and a Mandalorian on one point. I had a Rebel Commando hiding in a corner, and I had Tristan on one wound, and then the unit leader for a different squad, and that was all I had left. I lost everything else, and but the points are what matter, right? So that's what I won that game, and like obviously we go another round, that might not be the story, but like that's how the game works now. So I think if you win by turn 3, I think that's how you win, and you just have to keep at least one mini alive. Otherwise, I don't think you're winning that game if you're not like scoring consistently. And I don't know if that's just a thing that I need to figure out more, like how to win later or something. But I think it's kind of tough to win later when you're doing like progressive scoring. So I think a lot of people are trying to figure out like the strengths. I think Rebels are really good at like kind of like rushing things because we tend to want to move. And I think in a lot of people's kill points, except for like the recent London Grand Tournament that Dave Grant, he killed a lot. But like a lot of rebels that are doing well aren't killing a lot. Like if you look at Crucible, most of them weren't killing like a ton. They were just kind of like winning on objectives. And I think that's what they do. The rebels' objective play is really good, especially Bad Batch. They can contest range 1. and that even includes like assets. So say your recon carrier, not your recon carrier, yeah, your recon carrier drops the recon box or whatever, like you can contest that range 1 with Bad Batch and just claim it free action, which is really cool because that's not something anyone else can do. Um, so I think Rebels have good objective play. I think they're good at like scoring quickly. Um, the surviving is the tricky bit, but I think as people get better, I think then like it's a lot of practice. So I think Rebels, you play tight game. You have to be really strategic. They're really good for like tactical, strategical play, where you're doing a lot of planning ahead and everything, and you kind of have to plan around your opponent. If your opponent takes the reins, it's going to be tougher to win than if you're kind of holding the reins and saying, "I control what you're doing." Because I think Rebels are good at that as well. Like Han, change of plans. Like Luke, I'm a Jedi. Well, yes, that's fantastic. Take out their whole, you know, army practically. Sometimes with some of those lists, they put like, Yoda Bad Batch somewhere, and you're like, okay, no. Or like, 5's Anakin, no, you're not attacking with them. And I think, that's what they're really good at. They're really good at just saying, that's your plan, that's great, but we're gonna do this. And then they kind of have to follow along with that. So I think that's what Rebels do well,
Very
is
thematic, I feel
strategical
like.
tactical play. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Disruption. Right.
yeah, especially with Han. Because I know that you
Oh yeah.
were mentioning Han. I think there were a few units you said that a lot of people either are playing either not quite to the best of that ability, like Bad Batch, and I
hmm
think I forgot what the other one was. Um,
I don't
but
recall either. I think I know for sure Bad Batch. I was kind of realizing like I think Rebel Bad Batch isn't as killy as say like Gar Bad Batch because they got the precise, they get the pierce, but Rebel Bad Batch is way better at objective play. And so what I think people aren't necessarily doing, what I wasn't doing, is I think in order to keep you from getting engaged, because a lot of times what happens with Bad Batches, they move up, right? They shoot with their 2 aims from tactical because they double move and shoot, and then they get charged even with just the single mini, and now they're locked in melee, and now you can't do your steady anymore. And that's really sad for them because they don't want to do like they don't want to get trapped with 2 troopers and have to be locked in melee. They don't want that. They want to be able to move and, kill stuff by shooting. So I think what people aren't necessarily doing is using steady like they would for like Cad Bane or Han, like pop out, get an aim, shoot, move back, be range 1 away, kind of a thing. With Rebel Bad Batch, I think they're probably better at doing kind of that sneaky playstyle, which would match what they were doing more at the time anyway. Because they were playing, a little more carefully when they were being hunted. So I think that's kind of cool, actually. But I think that maybe that might be something there because, a lot of times when my Bad Batch was just getting locked down, and I'd be like, oh, they're not that good, but technically they are, and they should be better. But it's just probably a problem that people weren't doing it, I think, quite the right way for Rebel Bad Batch. We all saw Gar Bad Batch, and we were like, ooh, this is killy unit. But I mean, I don't think Rebel Bad Batch is quite the same level of that. I think you kind of have to be a little more tactical, and I think Rebels, like I said, win on objectives, so you score objectives. So
yeah,
and Omega's
in
great.
that. Okay, yeah. So I know that she's the one that allows you to have that range one ability for the
Yeah,
objective play.
right.
So she's worth probably that 10 points. I think 10 points.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100% worth it. Like a lot of times for me, she even dies at like after Echo,
Okay.
because I'll be like, if it's like, okay, we're on our last round and I'm scoring, and I don't want to lose that scoring, it's like, okay, Omega, you stay, Echo, you go, because we don't need you anymore. But we need Omega because we're scoring. So, I mean, I don't know, that might be a little controversial, but it
Hey, you got
works
to play
for
to
me.
win.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
And I know that you said the that Mando was priced correctly, and you did use him at Crucible. Um,
hmm
and I know that you also had a list with him with Luke. I don't know if you
Yep.
maybe want to talk about that or
Sure.
um,
Yeah, we can look at it. It's
okay.
very rough, very experimental, but we can look at it. Because I'm kind
Yeah.
of, some of my ideas, we can kind of talk over what I think I'm kind of leaning towards right now and maybe thinking of, because I'm not really sure what the best list is. I think Obviously, there was a rebel list that came in third at I think London's tournament recently. So, and I think that was Dave Grant again, and he's played really well. Obviously, a great player, but um, I think there's a lot of like trying to figure out for me personally, like what works for me, what works for rebels, kind of stuff. So this is kind of what that is.
Okay, yeah, I'll put it up and let you talk about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Where's the other thing? Okay, let me just grab the list so I can see it. I can't see it on here, so I'll just grab the list because I have it. So what I was thinking with Din is I actually think Grogu might be pretty good now, because of his two pip. Because I haven't been playing a lot of two pips lately. I don't know if other people are, but I don't have like a lot of two pips that I want to play a lot of the time. And if I do, I just use like one. So I have space for that Grogu card because you don't actually, play that as a command card. You play it during course of play. So I kind of thought, I might be really good because it's two dodges and you get deflect and all that. So I thought that would be kind of fun to try out. And you get the extra wound, which is kind of cool for a surging red save guy. It's kind of a good thing, I think. And then potentially, I know a lot of people don't like the diciness of it, but it's potential healing for Din, which is
Yeah,
good. I mean, or suppression and immobilize, which is honestly even better in this new version. If you're gonna mobilize something, like, okay, you're locked down. What are you gonna do? Because most things are speed too. So I think Grogu's actually pretty good. Obviously taking the Beskar Spear, didn't flame projector in the jetpack because that's how I run him. I do think Seize the Initiative is an interesting one because I noticed at Crucible I wasn't really getting value out of like up close and personal or situation awareness because there's usually a hit to dodge now instead of like having to dodge a crit. So I think for me, switching to Seize was important because being able to go first with him, like on a one pip, is kind of important. Or like, if you're not on his one pip or you need him on his two pip or something, like you need to be able to go with him because I did lose Din to Graham's 5 squad at Crucible because I couldn't get an order to him fast enough. And so I think like being able to toss that order out and say, okay, you better hope you pull that would be a lot better than saying like, okay, yeah, I just hope I pull his operative token. Um, so I
and so
think that was a choice that I made. So
you like playing him more up close then, rather than
mhm.
even putting his armband on there. Because I know with Grogu, you can use Grogu as the mini to see
Yeah,
for the armband.
yeah, that is true. That is true. I just feel like Legion's very much like a melee to like range 2 game now. Um, because all my games usually devolve into like range 2 and melee. Um, I'm not really sitting back anymore. Even with Cassian, he usually has to end up like running in after a Rebel Trooper dies to try to like save a point or something. But I think like for me, I just need Din to run in and be the kind of Mandalorian that he should be and take care of some stuff, kill some things, and so yeah, I don't think I'm really running him as a long range just because I've never really shot his pistol at Crucible either. To be honest, like he's always just getting into melee.
Okay. And
Obviously it worked out most games, not the one game, but yeah,
what about like tenacity then? And I know that you are leaving behind immobilize two, I think, and
yeah,
suppressive for Pierce for duelist, I should
yep,
say. Do you
yeah.
find that it's more worth it then to leave behind the immobilize and suppressive over the Pierce?
I mean, I'd like both, but you can't have both. And then like the duelist Pierce is actually really good, because you do get to also become immune pierce when you're facing like a shotgun squad or Anakin or something. They don't get to just say, oh, you're impervious, because impervious is great, but it's not 100%. Like it's still a very slim chance that you're gonna actually save out. Whereas you have a better chance in immune pierce. So I do like the immune pierce on him because he gets imminent dodge, so he pretty much always has a dodge. So you can at least cancel one pierce attack. I do think that the immobilize is great, obviously, and I would like to have that, but I just feel like Pierce is really important. Killing stuff is kind of what rebels are struggling with in their core. So like I think for me, I just need a kill monster to go out there and like kill some things, get some aims and then whack something, So, and that pierce gives you pierce 2 with him. So
Right, because of
from his knife, if you spend lethal.
right. So you have to spend 2 aims. You got to spend one for lethal and
Yeah,
one for duelist.
yeah.
Um,
You can reroll with the duelist one, but not with the lethal one. So
that's also really nice to be able to do. So
yeah,
now I also so with Luke, you've got the Force Push, Jedi Mind Trick, and Burst of Speed, and then Into the
yeah,
Fray, which I think that's pretty much perfect to bring
yeah,
on him, and how I would always build him out probably. Um,
yeah.
and
I think
then
tenacity could also be good on him, just like Din. I haven't really tuned this list. Tenacity would probably be good on him as well, but I like Into the Fray because it does give him a little more defense, um,
yeah,
to be able to do more shenanigans.
I
So
prefer Into the Fray
yeah,
on them because he's already got enough dice. I feel like that he's going to be
yeah, he has a
okay.
lot.
But on Din, maybe adding a little bit
Yeah.
of tenacity on him would be even better, especially even if he had the flamethrower, because I guess you can add an
Oh
extra
yeah,
red to
yeah.
the flame, and then
You can.
yeah, and then with the Beskar spear, you're just I mean that's
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
an
Brutal.
insane amount of red dice, Pierce
It is,
one.
and they pretty much, surge to crit. So it's wild. But so yeah, I do think tenacity on him might be good, and I had looked at that. I just hadn't, like I said, this is a rough draft kind of a thing. Um, but yeah, I do think tenacity on Din is really good, and probably a really good option because then instead of like his spear's 2 red, I think, right?
Yeah, I think 2 red and a black.
Yeah, 2 red and 1 black. So you get 3 red and 3 black, which is really really good. So yeah, it's a good thing to have on him. So
And
that
then I
might be
see
a
that
great upgrade.
yeah, and then I also see that you have 3 fleet troopers for I'm assuming for
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah, I think like Rebel Troopers I'm struggling with because like there's so much high velocity right now. Um, Especially like Phone Commandos, and they kind of just tend to clean up units. And so I was like, well, I think Fleet Troopers are a little more threatening in a way because you can charge them in and they can do at least something. Whereas Rebel Troopers are just kind of getting cleaned up. Um, Usually end up with like one or none, in my opinion. Um, they are okay. Like they're actually pretty decent into Anakin, which is hilarious because if you can like stack some dodges on them, like they double move to an objective and Anakin ready to run in, he has to roll all crits in order to actually kill them, which is hilarious because they're just like rebel troopers. Um, so I do think they're good at like melee, which is weird because like they're good into melee, but I don't know. I do think that fleet troopers might be fun to try, just because with all the armor that you have in this list, you can kind of hide them and move them up with the army. So I think you could probably get them up there pretty successfully and at least get a charge or 2 off.
Yeah. And then you have the Mandalorian Resistance in here with just the Beskar
Yeah.
Duelist and prepared supplies. I'm assuming
Yep.
it's just because you really like Mandos, right?
I do. I'm not sold on them, but like I do think Din would probably need some help because what I'm finding I have to do is like split off my courage 1 units from and go with like whatever is the courage check, and then like you can send your other stuff to the other points because they won't panic as easily. Um, because rebels kind of that's a problem, If you send a courage 1 unit off, it's gonna panic at like 2, which is really rough. So you kind of have to keep them with something. So obviously it would be the Shriv bus. Um, So I needed something to kind of throw over there with Din, other than just like, and I like Mandas, so yeah, I picked them. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
gonna stay, but
Yeah, because you were all right. So we're gonna look at. You've got 2 buses. You've got the back row medic, outer rim speed
Mhm.
jockey, and the quad laser on both of them. And then you
Yep,
have, or
yep,
sorry, I should say, back world on
one
both,
Shriv,
and
yeah,
quad laser, and one has Shriv. Yeah. So, and
yep,
with the Shriv, you said you were putting the Mandos on there for that extra dodge, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
100%, yeah. Put them in there, get that order out of there on the table for turn 1.
and then I'm assuming in the other one
Yeah,
you've just got a regular fleet trooper unit in there.
yeah, Fleet Troopers for sure. Just try to get them up the board a little bit behind some armor.
And then you have three ATRTs. Is there a specific
Hmm.
reason for the three ATRTs rather than any other kind of like support um, unit, I
I don't
guess?
know. I just thought their line of sight blocking, and for this, I was just trying to keep some stuff alive, like that matters, for at least the first turn and be able to get some shots off. And ATRTs are really cheap. They're 60 points, which is honestly cheaper than most Rebel upgrades. Like, so if you took Rebel Troopers and then you had like anything other than the shotgun, you're actually paying, I think, more than 60 points. So, and then, the ATRT has armor too. So I think I just kind of looked at that and thought, that's kind of cool. You can run three of these things for the price of like three Rebel Troopers with an upgrade on them. That's pretty cool because like you'd actually pay 66 for the DLT and you'd pay 67 for the ion gun on Rebel Troopers, and then you'd be paying 60 for Rebel fleets, but they don't have the range of that. And then like vets are very slow. Um, and then they'd be, what are they? They're 48 naturally, and then the upgrade's like 20 something, 28. I think it's like 74 points when they're done, I think.
I was thinking
It's like,
28. Let's see.
yeah, something like that. It's pretty high. They're like 70 something points.
Hmm.
Um, so
So, because I know that, so this is what I was thinking when I was bringing my 501st list was, should I bring
hmm.
one ATRT and one commando squad? And
Right.
I had practiced that for a little bit, and it just come to find out that like I'd rather not have free crits from armor,
True.
um, because a lot of people are still bringing anti armor stuff, but the old heavy cover rules basically do apply to your ATRT. So it's kind of like I don't know which one to take, and so I don't know if you found success bringing ATRTs or not. Um, they did wind up working out for Mowgli or for Rob, but
Yeah,
so I
that was
think
kind
they're
of what inspired it too.
okay. Yeah,
Mowgli. He was really cool. I was like, wow, look
yeah.
at him. He's running
They did,
naked RTs. Like, wow,
and they do some work. So I think they
yeah,
surged to crit, if I'm not mistaken. So
they do. Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
it's a good option. I feel like for sure. The white
yeah,
dice kind of don't feel the greatest,
yeah.
but
No, they don't.
I
But
guess
like
that's
I
the new
said, like
rules.
it's your other option. That's your only option really with like that price point anyway. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. I'd like to get to 11x.
Well,
I'm taking Rebel
also
Troopers or that. So yeah.
you're also getting what 6 health on that unit for 60 points rather
Yeah.
than 5 health
Yes.
for like
So yeah.
67
5 health.
points.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so there's a great trade off. I feel
Yeah.
like in Rebels
Right.
more so than the um,
Yeah.
Frigar
Yeah. Because like what here, commandos are like 75, 85 with the HQ,
HQ. Mm.
and your ATRT would be like what, 70,
70,
65,
75. I think 75
75.
maybe.
Oh, well, yeah. Just take the commandos. They're so good
Let's see. Yeah.
because they're range 4 as well, but Pierce
Yeah. The
often crit too.
right. The ATR is 60, and then yeah,
Okay.
if you do decide to bring something on it like
Yeah, 70.
ATRT or something, yeah,
Right.
70 points.
Yeah, just take the commandos. Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're better. It can't be one shot. All that. Search to block often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Like in the yeah on Gar for 100%. Yeah. But for rebels, it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's an interesting choice because you can have either the old heavy cover rules basically, or like dodges. Which I mean, dodges are great. I do think that the agile one helps. I don't think it's. I would have preferred independent dodge, to be honest, over like independent dodge 1 or 2. I would have preferred over like agile one, because like yes, it's great when you're moving and go first, but if you have 2 dodges on a unit, people don't usually shoot that unit. They shoot the one that doesn't, um,
I
unless
think
it's a high velocity.
they're probably
So
not trying to make them the same as
yeah,
Pikes, I guess, because
Pikes.
Pikes, they definitely would have independent. I could see that just because they're totally different and not
Yeah,
included into like a main rebel army. But it'd be nice if there was some sort of like, well, I guess you have like cunning deployment with extra dodges. I guess there are ways to get the
yeah.
extra dodge, but I see what you mean. Like it is nice
It's
to,
later rounds.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
because you'd have to sacrifice prepared positions to have recon, and yeah, recon's going to give them that
Hmm.
dodge from the recon movement, and then you could double move to give them three dodges, and then you have
Yep.
nimble, which is really nice, but
Yeah, it's great.
you're sacrificing that prepared positions, or sorry, not prepared
Mm.
positions, prepared supplies, which gives you that
Right.
dodge possibly later on when when you might need it.
Yeah.
Because there's not
Yeah.
much going on the first round, and if there is anything going on the first round, it's probably high velocity, and you can't spend that dodge anyway. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a
Yep.
pretty tough
Exactly.
decision.
Yep. And that's why I'm bringing line of sight blocking because I'm just trying to keep stuff alive from high velocity because that's typically what has been the problem for me. Because yeah, like rebels very much are the dodge faction now. I've never tossed out as many dodges as I have been lately, which is kind of fun because you usually end up with a pile of dodge tokens. But yeah, high velocity becomes the issue instead of like, oh, okay, we got an arc shooting at us. Like, yeah, it's bad, but like we got some dodges, so we can, maybe survive. Whereas high velocity is just kind of like, okay, three die, four die, kind of a thing.
I wonder if they'll ever come out with like an upgrade that allows a unit to still spend a dodge while they're getting attacked from a high velocity shot.
Yeah, I think nimble would be cool. Like if nimble also gave you like high velocity dodging, that'd be kind of cool. Because then they all of a sudden they'd be really good. Like all of a sudden you'd be like, okay, rebel troopers are great. I'll pay 40 points, no question. Like, you're like,
Yeah,
give me more, and I buy more because people would be like, yes, this is amazing. We can dodge high velocity. Um, Obviously that would put the stock up of a lot of other units. They have to look at that because like Padme could dodge things, and yeah, I mean, it would be crazy, but maybe a different thing would be better, but like a
I mean, you
different
could.
keyword. But I
I
think it
feel
would be
like
cool.
nimble would make sense because obviously being nimble
Yeah,
means that you're very agile and you can dodge
yeah,
a lot of stuff. Maybe I guess if they made it like a training slot, or if they're like if you like a or like a training upgrade that's like if you already have nimble, then if you attach this, then you can spin dodges during high velocity shots or something like that.
that
That
would be
way,
really
it's
cool.
still attached to the nimble keyword, but you're
Yeah,
taking a training slot to make it better, so that way it's not too crazy. And so you'd have to
right.
probably
Yeah,
upgrade the the captain, the rebel captain, to gain the
captain.
training
Yep,
slot so that you can get this specific card. So it, I mean,
be worth it though.
technically, yeah, I feel like that wouldn't be such a
Yeah,
bad
that'd be
idea.
worth it. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
worth it. Oh, yeah, that would let people take like their long range heavies again too. You'd be like, okay, yeah, because I'm not gonna just get wasted first turn. I can, move in, shoot, have some hope of like dealing damage and stuff. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I would love that. Um, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would buy the new Rebel Trooper box if
Yeah.
they had that.
6 rebel troopers all the time.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That'd be great.
Now, I know that you also had one more list that we
Mm,
could probably talk about if you wanted to. This one had uh, it had Leia with improvised, the rebel officer
yep.
with portable, and then Luke again with the same perfect build, I think, and then Bad
Yeah.
Batch, and
Great.
then instead of uh, the oh my gosh, why am I blinking all of a sudden? Instead of the fleet troopers, sorry,
Mandalorian. Oh
you've
yeah.
got rebel
Yeah.
troopers with the
Yeah.
close range, I think range 1 to 2 gun that doesn't exhaust
Yep.
anymore, and then
Yeah.
two best god duelist Mandos, and then two just regular speeder trucks with HQ uplink. You want to
Hmm.
kind of like go over and or explain kind of like
Yeah.
the cohesion parts, or kind of like maybe what
Yeah.
you were thinking of whenever you built it?
Yeah. I did run this list. This one's not experimental. It was a lot of fun. I think it's actually halfway decent. I do think guns on the bus is important. I was kind of like trying like sacrificial pawn, kind of like a chess thing, like guard the people and then like explode around it. It did work, and like it did win me that game against Yoda Bad Batch. Um, because the buses did their thing. I do think it's a little tough. Like the last list I played was a 6 activation of B2s with repair droids, so it was like basically effectively 80 wounds of red saves. Just was not chewing through that, obviously. So I think you do need some more guns. But the idea was like you get Leia, you get the rebel officer, you get Bad Batch, you get Luke, you get the buses, and you just kind of like on turn one you direct transport to the Mandalorians, so you get that out of your stack. Because turn one order control is kind of an issue sometimes for me. I try to do the best I can, but I it's sometimes hard with the cards you want to play. So I think I did that, and I would always do HQ uplink turn 1 on the buses. So I would have, just the troopers and Luke typically, and then like Leia and the rebel officer. And Luke was my improvised orders thing. I was always using that on Luke. When he came up, I'd be like, okay, boom, because I'd want him to go as late as possible because I wanted to react to where I needed to put him because he always goes by the Force user. So, because that's where he belongs. So I did that, and then what I would do is I would typically move the buses up, like once I kind of saw what they were doing. So I just kind of tossed troopers up, or even a rebel officer like back in cover behind line of sight if there was any. And then I'd kind of see what they were doing, and then I'd put a bus out, pivot it, group 3 position, and then I'd stick, my Mandos behind it, which is cool because they get to go onto the board quite a ways that way, and then they're also protected. You can't shoot them. And their speed 3 does a lot more for them once they're already on the board. So I would do that, and then I typically recover with the bus just to keep HQ uplink, in order to do it like next turn. So I would have that, option because I'd typically play, what's it called? The Leia 2 pip. No Time for
Sorry, so
Sorrows.
oh, no time for
Yeah, No
stars.
Time
Yeah.
for Sorrows. Yeah. So I typically play that on turn 2. So I would always have kind of like a semi like 4-order turn with that, where I could move the buses up and if I needed to and do stuff like that to block further. And so it was pretty cool. I liked that a lot. And then I had my rebel troopers just kind of go with the rebel officer and Leia, and then Bad Batch would kind of go and do their thing with the Mandalorians, and Luke would go wherever he had to. Um, I haven't had backup proc too many times because people usually get within like range 2 of him, so they don't know. It's like that's kind of interesting, but because I know like one time it would have if he had been next to a rebel trooper, but I just hadn't done it, and I was like, okay, well that was probably a mistake, but it hadn't happened any other rounds, so I was like, okay, yeah, good note. But and then I would typically do like either U-serve or Son of Skywalker, depending on the situation, and do like my attacks and stuff with Luke and make sure that he got to get some value in there on turn 3, because that's usually right about the time you need to start doing big damage with him. If you couldn't get in there turn 2, and usually I was in there turn 2 doing things, but I think typically you want turn 3 latest. Your Force user needs to be really doing their splashiest stuff, and so I'd be playing that. I typically do like either use serve on turn 4, or I do the Jedi one. I'm a Jedi, where you say no attacking, which was great. I did do that turn 3 one time, obviously, I think. No, I didn't. It was always turn 4 typically, because that was like that moment where you can say like, nope, you're not attacking me, or you're not attacking this, and then it kind of like changes that game state to where you can have a good chance of pulling it out. And it's a 3 pip, which is great because it lets you go last a lot of the time because people are playing like 2 pips and 1 pips there on that turn. So you kind of like, okay, yeah, I get to go later, and that kind of helps you keep Luke till last so that you can pick the best thing to throw out of scoring. And then turn 5, I was either probably playing like his full of surprises or something like that, just to get that out. And then because turn 1 was usually we do what we do from the Bad Batch, which is great. Because usually people like hang back and try not to be in range of the Bad Batch, but you're like, okay, great, your clones aren't close to me now, and your arcs can't just move in and hit all my stuff. So it did what it was supposed to do because I'd hold them to last, and it kept them back, which was a win for me. Even if I didn't get a shot, it was still a win.
Yeah,
So
the mind games is definitely a huge thing that you
yeah,
can get a good.
Rebels still have that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I hate when I have to play up against Han because you never know,
Oh
like
yeah.
his disruption card, or
Yeah.
make him shoot at something that you don't want to. But yeah, I'm assuming that you also probably used with Exemplar between the rebel officer and Leia. Maybe like Leia giving the rebel officer in a dodge, maybe Luke a dodge, and or the Bad Batch. But well, I guess
Yeah.
she's only got take cover 2.
Yeah.
So something like that, or maybe giving it to Bad Batch and Rebel Officer, and then Rebel Officer just giving it to like Leia and Luke or something like that, just for extra exemplar
Yeah.
stuff. But that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. It was fun. One of the
Um,
coolest things I did with that was I actually tossed a dodge out to Rebel Mandos that were engaged with Anakin, and then Leia did herself because she was in range 2 of them. And then when Anakin went to swing, he obviously didn't roll 5 crits. He rolled, 3 hits and 2 crits, and then dodge 2. Now he can't kill the Mandos, and they spent dodges. I mean Pierce, and then he does it again, and I think they no they did they die? I don't think they died actually. And then he was still engaged with them, and he didn't use force push to get off of them or anything like that. But
Mm.
I mean, I was happy because I was like, okay, I just literally saved my unit, because I think I only got 1 dodge on the second one, but it was all I needed. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Because, Rebel Mando's living was pretty cool. I could have like done more with that in the future if I think, if Anakin didn't kill them first, which he probably would have. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff with Exemplar, and like I said, like so many dodges. I wouldn't say that Rebels have any problem getting dodge tokens anymore.
Mm-mm.
Because I have so many. I'm like I've had to put more in my box, like literally. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
After seeing the amount of
Especially one turn,
oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
especially turn one. You're like, okay, if you're running Rebel Troopers, you have like 2 dodges on everything at least, and then you have like more from Leia, more from the officer. It's crazy. It just gets insane. And then if you have any on like Bad Batch, they take a dodge. It's just like, oh my goodness, all the dodges. So
Right.
it's fun
Well,
for sure.
so just to kind of like maybe even round it out a little, what are, and this is going to be just like a fun little thing.
Yeah.
What are some maybe rebel units that you would like to see
Ooh.
come to the faction?
That's a fun question. That is a fun question. You're absolutely right. I have so many things I want to see. I want to like a bunch of Jedi because I think it'd be really cool to have like General Kenobi, but like in Ben Kenobi. I think that'd
Hmm.
be so cool. Like old Ben, it'd be so fun. And I hope he'd be like a commander because it'd be so cool. Because like typically in Legion, if the character's older than the younger version that they have already, they will let them use the cards. So it'd be kind of cool to have like General Kenobi because some of those cards actually would be kind of cool for Rebel Troopers. Like his Surge one specifically, converting Surges would be pretty cool for them. I know they don't need it for defense, but they don't surge to hit like a lot of the others. And as we all know, when you don't have surge to hit, that's when you roll a bunch of surges. These are like two.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to have General Kenobi give them some surges to use. I'd love to
Do you
see
think
that. I think,
do you think he'd
yeah,
be an operative though? Because I don't know if
I would
he like
hope
commanded
not.
anything. He was just
I
kind of
would
like
hope not.
going along with it. Um,
Yeah,
in
I
the
know what
first
you
one.
mean. I would get it. I would get it. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But we have so many good operatives already, that I
Yeah.
don't really think like I would want to see it in that slot. I could totally understand it, and I'd still run him,
What if they
but
did
I would
a
love to see him commander.
What if they did like a New Hope battle force and did like
Ooh,
fleet troopers, Commander Anakin, operative Ben Kenobi, Han, Leia,
mhm,
Chewie,
that'd be
mostly
awesome.
stuff from like the first episode. I feel like that could be
It'd
a
be really
way
fun.
to get more operatives in, just in case if you need to. Well, I guess you wouldn't need to get more operatives in. It would just already
Or
because
commanders.
yeah, Chewie, Han, Leia,
Yeah,
Commander Luke, three. Yeah, you could have up to like five
yeah,
operative commanders. That I mean, hey, that'd
that'd be
be
cool.
that'd be
It'd
pretty
be
fun.
really fun. I'd love that.
Yeah,
I'd love more battle forces for rebels that are like more standard than like Ewoks and Echo Base defenders, because I would really love to see them do something with like, okay, this is like, you know, your yeah, like I said, New Hope, or this is your Rogue One, which I would think would be really really fun, and I hope they do that at some point because we need
yeah.
Base, we need Chirrut. I want to see them so badly because they're so cool, and I think that'd be really fun if you could like run Pathfinders as Rebel Core in that. That'd be so sick if you could do that, and then you could have like all your Rebel guys. I think they have associate keyword now. I think that would work well with Baze and Chirrut because I think you wouldn't even necessarily need like a special operative rule because you could just have your detachment and then your associate, and you'd be fine. Um,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know
or
if you'd do
if
Bodhi. Bodhi might be like an upgrade or something.
yeah, if Bodhi could be like an upgrade or like a command card, about maybe like
Yeah, something like that.
intel or something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
or at least it could be very similar to the 501st, in which you could run up to
Hmm.
four special forces units, and so you could have like four,
Oh yeah, yeah. That'd be cool.
and or in like one core, so like four Pathfinders, and
Yeah,
then
that'd be
maybe
fun.
like one Rebel
That'd
Trooper,
be
and
fun.
then like you could have Jin, Cassian, K2, Baze, basically like the hero hammer kind of stuff.
Hero Hammer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my favorite. If you can't tell, I love Hero Hammer. um, so I play Rebels. Uh, but yeah, I think that'd be really fun. I think Saw Gerrera too. I think Saw Gerrera needs to be in Legion because he is so cool. I would love to see him. I think he'd be really fun take on kind of a more aggressive rebel. Kind of like a more edgy because most of them are very heroic. They'll inspire. Be kind of cool to see a more edgy rebel who's not
Yeah.
like as much in like the whole hope and all that. He's more like just for the cause. And
So he could.
so I think that'd be neat to see him.
Yeah, I think he'd have a ruthless keyword because I think that that would
Oh
actually be
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, that'd be
Being able
awesome.
to have everyone take a wound and go
Yeah,
forward and do the dirty work that needs to
yeah,
get done.
yeah. And I'd love to see his people as well, like Benthic Two Tubes and all them. I'd love to see them be like a sort of like rebel, maybe like not core. I don't know. 'Cause the problem is like everything special forces, but like it'd be cool to see them be like maybe like a boil and like a waxer upgrade where they can fit into other things, which would be really neat. I think I'd like to see them be like I'd love to see more of that where we can take like heavies, but they're like characters, but they're heavies, but they're characters, like Fives and Echo and stuff that like Gar has. Like I would love to see like Benthic Two Tubes hop into a squad and give them something special, or like his other guys. And I'd love to see his Saw Gerrera like partisans unit that has like incognito or something. That'd be so sick. I'd
Yeah.
love
So
that.
so like,
Yeah.
what if you could do like the new sleeper cell could go into the special forces spots,
Oh yeah.
and then maybe if
Mhm.
they had the partisans as like a mercenary faction that can be brought in Rebels, with
That'd be
the
cool.
ability to have benthic two tubes and all that stuff has like a like the commander slot, not just a heavy slot,
Oh yeah.
and so that way they can customize that one unit, and
Yeah.
maybe put it into a battle force or something like that, and that could be a
That'd
lot
be
of
fun.
fun for Rebels and give them a little
That'd be
bit
really
more
fun.
options. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see the rest of the Ghost Crew as well. I think that'd be really cool to see like Kanan and Ezra. That'd be so fun to run them. Love those two. They're so cool. I'd love to put them in my army. I'd love to see Hera. I don't know how she'd work, but like that'd be fun to run her as well, just because I love Hera. She's so cool. And then I just had one. Oh, I want to see clones. I want to see like Old Man Rex, and I want to see him as like that,
Yeah.
like we're saying, like the heavy or something, or like I don't know, like commander, but like leaders basically. I think that'd be
Hmm.
so cool if like Rex gave a unit like Scout and like Courage, whatever, two or three, whatever. I don't know. We need courage. That's what we need. So I think it'd
Yes,
be cool if like
definitely.
Rex could go in and he could like add like scout or something to a unit and like do some dice adding obviously, and then obviously like some courage. That'd be so cool. Like Rex, Wolf, like Gregor. There's lots of
Hmm.
clones that worked with the rebellion. I think it'd be cool to see them. Maybe they add we don't really need reliable, but it might be cool for like the surging. I don't know. But other than that, I don't think we really need reliable. So I don't know. I'd love to see something else, like maybe agile or target or something on the clone like unit. Not unit, but like unit leader.
Yeah, they need to put Gregor in his tank top and then
Oh
Wolf
yeah,
in
that'd be
like
so
his
funny.
tank top
Yeah.
armor. Um,
That'd be hilarious.
yeah,
It'd be
an
so
old
fun to
man.
paint too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he could do like
Yeah.
some fun colors with that.
Yeah.
But maybe they could do like the Ghost Crew as like what they did with the Bad Batch. But the only
Yeah.
issue is like Hera's a commander, and
Yeah.
I think like even not Zeb, but Kanan would also maybe
Yeah.
even be a commander. And then
That could be cool.
I guess they could do like their own stuff, but then maybe combine it into the Ghost Crew and have that as like an operative slot. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that
Yeah.
Rebels don't really have a good vehicle commander, and so
Yeah.
I think Hera would make a really good vehicle commander, since she was a pilot, and she's also
That'd be awesome.
got Chopper. So Chopper could also be
Yeah.
like maybe like a detachment from her, and
That'd be cool.
or a counterpart even. Sorry, not a detachment. Make it a counterpart to her to give her an extra life, and maybe even do some like hacked stuff, just kind of like the sleeper cell one, and
Yeah.
maybe Chopper could actually also have like an attack. because
He needs
he's
to have a good attack. If his
yeah,
Chopper's not committing war crimes, it's not Chopper.
exactly. Agreed, agreed.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
That's what he does. Yeah.
those
But
are
I'd love
some
to
great
see that kind of
ideas.
stuff. Cool. I mean, they can
Yeah,
do so much, and I would love to see it. Um, I think it'd be really fun. They can do so much. It's already a really fun faction to play, and people should definitely still play it. Like, I don't agree that it can't win. I don't agree that it's not good. I agree that it's tough to win, but I don't think that's necessarily always a bad thing. I think that makes you a better player. So if you play Rebels, I think it'll make you a better player than if you don't play Rebels. I think it'll teach you so much about the game. Like, I've picked up a lot of like cohesion tricks where, I'll make sure that my unit is really important to shoot, but they have to like kill it one at a time if they want to, actually finish it off, because there'll be a unit leader out there and they'll just have to like pick off one by one, because or whatever, because I think it's cool when you make it like, okay, this is scoring an objective, you have to kill it, but you have to waste 5 attacks. Like, if you can do that, it's great. And I think that's what Rebels teach you, is like, you don't always have to be hyper aggressive. It's not always, can I wipe them off the board? It's, can I win this game through skill? Like, that's what the game is with Rebels. And I think that's a really fun thing for me, and I think a lot of other people enjoy it. So I think it's not always like, are my units the absolute best? Are they the absolute like killiest things on the board? They're very much like, play the game and do your best, and then like outwit your opponent, and they do clever things like Rebels would do. In real life, they don't have the best stuff, but I think it's fun. I do think they do need some help, but I think some of those things we talked about would be really, really cool and would help us a lot. Because I think courage is one of the things that I would think is kind of tough, and then like the high velocity would really be my two things right now. I think other than that, it's very, very fun. Um, and I think you have a really good shot. I think it's tough right now for a lot of people because they feel like, oh, my rebels can't kill anything, but we're also not taking like heavy options a whole lot. Like, I take the shotgun because it's cheap and it's an extra wound. So like, yeah, I'll take that 100%. But I think like people feel like, oh, rebels aren't killing, but you do need core to actually have dice on the table to shoot things. So I think like if you're not taking heavies, you're not actually shooting. But I think people feel like, oh, my rebels are just dying, and that's fair right now. But I think if they do a little something there where rebels have a little more chance to stay alive through like that nimble upgrade or something like that, like you were saying, I think people could take those upgrades again, and I think they'd be back to killing stuff. Again, because I mean, I used to kill a lot more in Old Legion, but again, I was running heavies. I was running DLTs, or well, pretty much just DLT. And then like Z6s. But yeah, I ran a lot of like DLTs, and those are really good, but it's 26 points, and it's like I get why people aren't putting them on. I'm not putting them on either, but I think like if we had a little more like play into high velocity, we'd be really good faction. Actually, I really think that there's a lot of meat there for us, and obviously the fun factors is massive on Rebels. So
yeah,
plus the painting, it's so much fun. Every little guy gets to be different, and they look so so good when they're all on the table, because you get to have like this really rebellious like ragtag army that's really fun
yeah. I
instead of
think
like
they've
white.
got a lot of good options. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun.
Well,
I enjoy them. I'll keep playing them.
you should. Yeah, I want to keep seeing you.
Yeah.
I know that you might go to the dark side at some point, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
Made a
but
cool Vader Krennic list, and so I gotta try it.
yeah, I feel like those two make
But
a great
yeah,
team. Besides
I
Vader
own
trying to choke out
Empire.
Krennic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. A little bit of a rocky start, but they probably clearly worked it out in this list. So yeah,
Nice.
but yeah, I mean, I own Empire. I've played it like once. So yeah, I've like, okay, I need to play my Empire stuff, because I just play Rebels pretty much. Like, I've played my Separatist stuff once, which I'm planning to play them more because I actually really enjoy the Order control. It's a very different experience. Sometimes you just need that different experience, and Separatists like, oh, I can just go with whatever I want. That was really cool for me, and I enjoyed it a lot. So we'll be playing them more, and I own all the Empire stuff pretty much. So it's like, okay, I should play them because I own it. So I should actually use it. I've played it once, so it's funny. But I've loaned my stuff to other people. That's what I do with it typically, because I'm like, oh, I want to play. Yeah. and I play Rebels. So, but yeah, so I'm definitely not going to quit Rebels. They're so much fun. Definitely don't quit on them. Don't think that they're terrible. They're doing okay. It's just that you'd have to think a little more, and I think we need to work out some more stuff because I think more changes are probably coming. I hope there are. I think they've got some good plans. And obviously, you just have to work out the best way for you to win. I think Rebels are very individualistic. There's so many different ways to play them. It's not
Yeah,
like you have to run this specific like Rebel list in order to do well with them. You can do other things and have a lot of fun.
yeah. Like I think, like you said, I think they definitely need help with courage, a
Yep.
lot because that's really killing them right now,
Yeah.
especially with a lot of suppression stuff out there.
Oh yeah.
So
Right. Yeah, like that's I think one of the biggest things for me and like why I won't do the mega squads. I would love to play the mega squads. They look insanely fun, but like a courage 1 unit, I just don't trust the Indomitable enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like, whereas I think like droids, it's cool because like even B1s, I've seen a lot of double squads and they're really good. I've played into them, but they're not suppressed, right? They have to actually be panicked. And so like, yeah, take those because they're great. And then like the fives big squad, that's a courage 3 unit, so that's obviously not panicking very easily. You can even throw it on one side of the board and it's like it's fine, you know. So I think rebels would be cool. That's why I would really like to see the old like the clones because if you could stick like Rex and get like charge and then have your big squad and he gives you like courage 2 or courage 3, man, that would be so much fun. Like on fleet troopers, just having Rex like run fleet troopers into something or rebel troopers would be so cool. It'd be so cool. I would buy that in a heartbeat. I'd be like, heck yeah, sign me up.
well, AMG, if
I
you're
get to run
listening, come
Rex.
on, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Give us old man Rex, we'd love it. Um,
Mhm.
you'd sell so many. So
Well,
yeah.
yeah, man. This was a lot of good information for Rebels, and I hope that
Mhm.
it does encourage a lot of others to play it,
Yeah.
and do more with them. But yeah, it was great talk, and it was cool, kind of like at least briefly saying hi when you were playing Graham for a second at Crucible,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah, that was fun.
looking at the cool painting that you did with your Mandos and
Oh,
Ahsoka and all that
thanks.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I love the painting. It's so much fun. Ahsoka, I'm like, I want to play her so much because I just love her paint job. And so I'm like, man, every time I make a list without her, I'm like, oh, I really want to play Ahsoka. You know, that's how you know you're hooked. You're a rebel
exa-
player. Yeah.
oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, people I'm sure can find you on the Florida Man Discord or the Florida, not
Yep.
Florida Man specifically, but just the Florida Legion, and
Yep.
I'm sure
Yeah.
after bringing you in here, I think it added you to my Discord. So welcome in for a
Okay.
second,
Sweet.
but it
Yeah.
you can obviously do with that what you like. But yeah, man, thanks a lot for joining in and giving
Yeah.
us your
Thanks for having
input
me.
on Rebels. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. It's a
eh,
lot of fun actually to do this and get to hang out with you and chat about Rebels. I really like Rebels and enjoyed talking about them and what I think would be fun for them. And I think it'd be really cool if any of those ideas came to fruition. I know Cal Kestis is rumored, which is kind of fun. Um,
hey,
Hopefully he's not another operative because I want to run him with Ahsoka and Luke. But he probably will be. Um,
probably
I do think giving Rebels a third operative slot would be cool.
that would be that. I
That would
feel
be
like
awesome.
yes, and I feel like that would be thematic as well, and not
Yes.
much of a
Yeah.
change to the actual Rebel faction,
Yeah.
because they did have a lot of named characters and operatives
Hmm.
to begin with.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
Are you playing for Rebel Troopers or are you playing to play your favorite characters? You're playing to play your favorite characters. That's why you play Rebel Troopers. If you love clones, you're gonna buy a bunch of clones and you're gonna name them all, and you're gonna paint them up, and they're all gonna be really cool, and that's awesome, and like that's great. But like when you play Rebels, you're playing it to play the heroes. So like you want to be a hero hammer list. That's what you're doing. Like yeah, Rebel Troopers. Everybody knows they're like red shirts in Star Trek. You know, Episode 5. We don't know any of those dudes. None of
right.
them live.
No,
You know, you don't love the rebels because of them. You love them because of the people on the ships that actually get out. You know, so
right.
it's like Clone Wars. You know, all the lats that blow up, nobody cares because the heroes aren't on it. You know, so we're rebels are like, yeah, we want the heroes. Give us the heroes. Give us the surviving stuff, and we'll have fun with
Yeah.
it. Obviously, Rogue One they don't live, but spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Oh
mean,
boy.
they're still some of my favorite heroes from Rogue One. They're so cool, and I'd love to see more of them in the game and to be able to run all of them in that, sort of like Rogue One force. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, they started it and then
Yep.
never finished it, so it's kind of a
I know.
small
Yeah.
disappointment there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think Bodhi could be cool as a personnel upgrade as well.
yeah,
Like give courage and like coordinate or something to core. It'd be really fun. I'd love to see it. Um, and then Baze and Jurrit, yes, please. Like, please give Jurrit a force upgrade slot and just limit him to not get pushed. Like, I would love it. I would love it so much because he is a
um,
force user.
maybe what they could do is everything but push,
Yeah,
or at least natively give him force reflexes
that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
because he did do a
Call it
lot of
like
dodging and
one with the
stuff like that.
force,
Yeah,
one with
yeah.
the force or something. Yeah, that'd be neat. I like that. Would be a cool
Because
upgrade.
yeah, because I know that I wish that force push was native on all of these force users, but I think that even just having force
Mm.
reflexes for him would be something, or even hope. Maybe hope could be a good upgrade for him.
Yeah,
Maybe if he
that
had
could be cool.
limited upgrades from the force slots that
Yeah,
could be done, that would
that's what I
be
was thinking.
a pretty good thing
Yeah,
to do for him.
I was thinking like be fun to give him like I just was thinking like defensive, offensive stance on Chirrut would be really cool. Because like you see him sometimes switch from like defensive to attacking, and then it'd be kind of neat to be able to take that on him, I think. And Hope was kind of what I was thinking as well, because like he's not really running around Jedi mind tricking people or force pushing. He's not a Jedi. He's Chirrut. He's a very cool like force user that I think they need to do more of because it's honestly really cool. Um, This is not full blown Jedi, but it's like this really neat, like wise guy who uses the Force a little bit, and it's kind of cool, self trained and all that. So yeah, I'd love to see him. Limited upgrades would definitely be necessary though, because otherwise Force push Chirrut would be just game breaking and lore breaking, and nobody would
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Oh, I mean, they could
Yeah.
even do just like command cards that'd be like, this
Oh yeah,
turn he's
that'd
got
be true.
like force reflexes, or maybe permanent. He's got
Mhm.
force reflexes or something like that, and then
Yeah,
um, maybe yeah, I'm sure there's something they could do with that, but
yeah, they could
um,
they could do something. They
yeah,
could do something for sure. But yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be really fun to have another like melee. And I think Rogue One and Battle Force actually need a melee unit that they could have to like hedge against other melee users. So like not melee users, but like melee units. Because typically Pathfinders don't like being in melee, and neither does Cassian. So yeah, but
yeah.
like
You have K2 and
it'd be
Jin, who are at least decent. Okay,
18, yeah,
they're okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because he
Hopefully
throws
Jin gets
four
an upgrade.
red. Yeah, and she's
Yeah,
four black. But yeah,
yeah,
hopefully she can get like more of a change to hers
yeah.
or addition or something.
I think Jin could be really fun if they do her right. I think she would be really, really, really fun. And I know a lot of people really love her, even right now. I don't own her because I was like, oh, look, a resculpt's coming. And I thought, that would be cooler to own the better looking one. Because Cassian, obviously a hard plastic, he looks great. I think he looks like Diego Luna, 100%. Um,
Yeah, they did
but
a good
Felicity
job.
Jones, I think the new resculpt will be a lot better for her. It'll look a lot more like Felicity Jones, I'm sure, because AMG does do great models. Like their models are amazing. Um, Everything I've seen from them is like amazing. So.
Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
well, yeah, man. Thanks a lot again for joining you.
Yeah,
I think that was a great discussion, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
yeah, definitely. Yep, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Well, everyone else,
Right.
y'all take it easy,
Rebellion.
and yeah, for the rebellion, and or for the
Exactly.
republic.
Yeah.
Uh, but all right, guys, y'all take it easy.
Right. Right.